Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 2 of A View to a Kakuranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listeners. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how are you doing today?
Not bad, man.
Beautiful day here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Stunning day, man. Because it's time for your weekly Cleveland weather update.
Yes.
Because that's what we do on this show.
Nice and sunny, warm, but with a slight chill in the breeze.
With a little chilly breeze. Ideal fall weather, I would say. No, man, everything's going really well. The school year is sort of up and running. I'm having a really great year. Because, sometimes you don't. But this year, I get on with all the kids, and I like them, and they like me, and the classes are cool. So I'm having a great time.
Very exciting, dude.
Shaping hearts and minds. It's a pretty good deal.
Sure. Nice work if you can get it. But Dave, you know what else is nice work? Is watching every episode of Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. That's what we're doing. And today, Dave, we are watching episode 2. It is titled A Dangerous Lady. But before we get into that, Dave, we've got to get through our officially award-winning opening segment. Dave, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
Okay, so down by our buddy, by Bill and Jen's place, there used to be a Blockbuster.
Yes.
So there used to
be a lot of Blockbusters, a lot of places.
Right. There used to be a lot of Blockbusters in just a ton of places, and those are gone now. Although my understanding is that there are a handful of independently owned Blockbusters.
Are there really? Just franchises that have weathered the storm?
I don't think it's a franchise operation generally, but maybe if you lived way out someplace and Blockbuster was listen, we're not going to open a store, but you can franchise if you want to. I think a couple still exist.
No way.
But
that's awesome.
This, I guess. I mean, listen. If your community has a functioning Blockbuster in it, clearly your community needs a Blockbuster. So good for you and that Blockbuster, I guess. But this Blockbuster was in a plaza.
Okay.
So it's
is this the one near the Taco Bell?
Yeah. It's the one right next to the Taco Bell.
Gotcha.
That's not how it's pronounced except by our one friend. But anyways, it's right next to the Taco Bell. And it's Blockbuster, Subway, Great Cuts, and then something else, right?
Sure.
I think it's a head shop. But when it's the key part is that it's in a plaza, Matt, because everything else in the plaza is good. The Blockbuster has been shut down for, I kid you not, I think 3 years, and just nothing has been in it.
It has been quite some time since anything has moved into that Blockbuster.
And so I was driving by the place the other day, and they're doing demolition, but just of the Blockbuster. The rest of the plaza is fine. And they're just destroying this one part.
So
they're
you've got a Panda Buffet and the other places, and then just at the end of the plaza is a pile of rubble that used to be a Blockbuster?
Yes, nothing else has even shut down for the demolition. Blockbuster is so dead that they're just destroying its corpse, and everybody's just going to move on with their lives. And I think Blockbuster fell so hard and so fast, just driving, because they left the sign up.
Oh,
so just
boy.
driving by and watching everybody else is cool, and just Blockbuster's getting demolished.
It's Blockbuster.
I laughed for 5 minutes.
Blockbuster fell so hard that they had to get rid of not only the stores, but the actual places. Because the stink of death was so strong on Blockbuster that nothing else could ever move into that store.
Yeah, dude. Even not Barnes and Noble. Where did you use Borders? Even Borders didn't go down that hard.
No, and Borders went down pretty hard.
Oh, Borders they went down so hard. Good memories in Borders though. Better memories than in Blockbuster.
I've got some good Blockbuster memories.
I've got some good Blockbuster
memories. I kind of miss the days of going to a Blockbuster and just poking around. I have replaced those by just opening
do you
up
have
Netflix. Yeah, I just open Netflix and scroll through and never actually watch anything, just put different things into my queue. And then like half an hour later, I decide, well, I could have watched an episode of television in that time, but instead, I flipped through all the options and now I'm done.
Yeah. That's how Netflix works. You don't actually... Wait, do you actually watch things on Netflix?
Well, I've been watching Time Ranger. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not Time Ranger. That's the Sentai. I've been watching Power Rangers Time Force.
Yeah, you don't actually watch things on Netflix. You just add things to your queue, and then you do the same with Hulu and then Amazon, and you've got a great queue, but then you never actually... You're not supposed to watch. I think they charge you extra for that.
I literally would not know.
All right, Matt. So what is our second star of the week?
Okay, Dave. Our second star of the week is that the other day I went out to my local establishment to go get a beer after work, and I was sitting around out on the front patio because, as I said, it's been beautiful weather recently.
Yeah,
and
stunning.
I get into a conversation with a couple of people, one of whom I kind of know. The other ones I think knew the person that I knew. You know, just like bar conversation.
Yeah, like
right?
bar. Yeah, precisely.
And so throughout the course of the conversation, because we were hanging out for a couple hours, like we kept getting onto topics, and I kept realizing that I had like a talisman of the fact that I liked that topic in my bag at that moment. And so we would just be talking, and by the end of the night, I realized that I had on 3 separate occasions pulled out a copy of my collection of Watchmen. I had pulled out my Dungeons and Dragon dice, and I had pulled out a book that is like the history of professional wrestling.
I just want to say, I'm not surprised at all that you own those things, but you had them all with you?
Yes, I just happened to have had them all with me. The copy of Watchmen was the outlier because I had loaned it to one of the bartenders and just gotten it back that day.
And okay,
but I realized at the end of the night, as I was driving home, that I had somehow accidentally become
those people. They don't believe you exist.
No, see, that's the thing. By the end of the evening, I had become like accidental, like bar patio nerd Carrot Top, and had just been like pulling props out of my trunk to like display my bona fides.
Yeah, you're like a weird. No, you're a weird like imaginary fairy for those people. They're telling someone else this story about you, and the people to whom they are telling it are like, no, that dude doesn't exist. That can't be. Like, you met like a weird goat. You met a nerd ghost is what happened.
It was a weird,
and that's what you are in this story.
It kind of felt like a weird magic trick where just every topic of conversation I happened to be like, aha, and now let me display this.
That's pretty. Actually, Matt, speaking of your nerd bona fides, that does lead just beautifully into our next star. So what, Matt, is our third star of the week?
Third star of the week, Dave, is that there has been an update to Pokemon Go. I know we haven't talked about Pokemon Go on the show for a while because it's been kind of stalled out. The game has not been really adding a lot of new, exciting features recently. And I've still been playing it, but it hasn't really been worth bringing up on the show. But they recently added a buddy system. And here's what this means.
Tell me more.
You can assign one of your Pokemon to be your buddy. And then as you walk, you get candy to level up that Pokemon.
Like that exclusively, like just for...
I think you get it for that type, not for that exact one.
But I think obviously you're gonna max out Pikachu or whatever.
So this is really exciting because now it means 2 things. It means that I get to walk around with like a little Squirtle buddy the entire time, which is the best. Of course. It also means that eventually, even though I never find Squirtles out in the wild, I will get enough Squirtle candy to eventually get that sweet, sweet Blastoise, because I love that angry water gun tank, dude.
Yeah, no, the starter Pokemon are the best. Like, those guys are amazing. I also love... What's the dude with 4 arms? I love that guy.
Are you talking about
Machamp?
Forearm, the dude from the Mutant Liberation Front?
Well, I like that guy too. Pretty much I just like anybody with multiple arms. I think it's a cool superpower.
Dave, almost everyone has multiple arms.
Machamp, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. I like that dude.
Oh, yes. Either Machamp or Machoke. I forget which one.
Machamp. Yeah, Machamp. He looks rad. He looks like a four-armed fighting lizard. It's rad.
He is. I think he's wearing a championship belt, isn't he?
He 100% is. And wrestling trunks. It's sweet.
Yeah, that dude is awesome. Anyway, that's all. That's really all there is to it.
Okay. So can you battle each other yet?
Not yet, but they have told us that it's coming.
Okay, so this is the promise, is that you will be able to be the very best like no one ever was.
Sure. To train them as your true test Wait, or maybe that's your cause. I forget.
I'm pretty sure it's your cause. To catch them is your test.
And to train them is your cause.
There we go. Your cause.
Anyway, so yeah, that's all I got on Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Go Plus comes out like tomorrow, but I don't think I got on the pre-order list soon enough that I'm going to get the first wave.
Well, listen, man, I think I am coming to this conclusion about video games that I think I need to temper my excitement about getting things as soon as they come out, particularly for like Bethesda games, which are some of my favorite games. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm trying to set myself mentally that the next time Bethesda comes out with like a giant open world RPG, I'm not going to buy it.
Okay.
At first.
Well, see, that's what I do. Although, Dave, I say we change the subject because we are getting dangerously close to talking about Fallout 4 again, and that is something that we swore we would never do.
We did. The new DLC is really good, though. But that's the thing is they always come out with a ton of extra stuff later, and then by the time all the extra stuff has come out,
it right now. We said
no. I'm just talking about general Bethesda
right now.
General stuff, because this would apply to Skyrim too, or any Elder Scrolls game.
Dave, what's our 4th star of the week?
Okay, fine. Our 4th star of the week, Matt, is that I love magic and video games, which I would have liked to talk about, but I love magic.
Tell me more about
I don't do magic
because I also love magic.
Oh my gosh, I love magic so much. I don't do magic, but I will watch literally hours of magicians on like YouTube. I will just YouTube surf from card trick to card trick to card trick. Like, I love it. I don't love as much like, I think what's called like Grand Illusion, where it's like, there's a woman in a box and she disappeared and now she's back and she's wearing a dress. It's like, well, okay, like you clearly have a trick box and like you did a cool thing, but like that's not amazing to me. I love sleight of hand. Really what I should say is I love sleight of hand.
Okay, so you're not like a David Copperfield guy.
Yeah, David Copperfield is like a weird dude and he like owns an island and like believes that he eats light or something. But
I do not know how much, if any of that was true. But
he definitely owns an island. Like, that is 100% true. And it's super crazy. Somebody wrote an article about it, and I think he might believe that he eats light. I'm not sure.
Listen, who am I?
No. He doesn't.
To judge David Copperfield on whether or not he can eat light. That made the Statue of Liberty disappear.
No, he doesn't. Sorry. In the article that I read, he has a chef, and like everybody else was eating a fancy dinner, and David Copperfield just eats chicken tenders. That's just what he likes. And he's like, it's my island. Bring me some of those sweet chicken tenders. So it is. I love magic. And Penn and Teller, my personal thoughts about Penn Jillette aside.
Yeah. My personal thoughts of Penn Jillette are that I wish that Penn was the silent one and Teller talked.
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful. But
tell me about this show.
So they've got this show, and it's called Fool Us, Fool Us. And the whole idea is that a magician comes on and they do their act or like their trick or whatever. And the goal is, as the title implies, to fool Penn and Teller. Like Penn and Teller, like of the two, Teller is the better magician. Like Penn says this. And like he's got like this enormous library and like they know all this stuff. And, you know, obviously they've been doing it for like a billion years. And so the goal is like, can you figure out a way to do a trick that they can't catch? Like, can you manage to like...
I think I've seen some of this show.
Yeah, to like put one over on Penn and Teller. And only like, I mean, predictably, not a real large percentage of people manage to do it, but you do get to see some really cool magic. And so I was on my lunch break today and I was just like watching some clips. And this dude came on and his name is Madi Gilbert. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm sure if you look him up on YouTube, his videos come up. I don't know if he's professional or not, but here's the deal with Marty Gilbert. Marty Gilbert was born with, like, he has a birth defect, okay?
Okay.
And so his, like, one of his arms is, it only comes down to, like, where his elbow joint would be, but there's no joint.
Okay.
And then his other arm, he has, like, a full elbow joint and also, like, a wrist joint, but, like, it's small and, like, the hand isn't fully formed.
Okay, right
Which
on.
I wouldn't be going into a lot of detail, except this dude is a magician. And he does card tricks.
Okay.
Dude
Tell me
does
more,
card tricks.
because this sounds fascinating.
Dude does card tricks. He doesn't have hands. So he goes on the show, and, like, you should just watch it. It's Madi, Madhi Gilbert, Gilbert. Also, if I couldn't remember his name, and so I just looked up Fool Us No Hands Magician, but he did come up.
Okay, listen, I understand why you feel the way you do about that, but it did work.
But it did work, and his name is Marty Gilbert, and I promise I'll remember it now, because he's amazing. So he goes to do this card trick, and it seems like a fairly simple card trick. I mean, like, I don't know how it was done, obviously, but it seems like a fairly simple card trick. But here's the amazing thing. Penn and Teller were watching it, and at the end, they're like, we don't know how you did that because nobody else has ever done it that way because everyone else has hands.
Right, like, they know how they would do that trick, but they don't know how he did it.
Yeah, they don't. It's like, yeah, they're just like, we have no paradigm to understand how you put that trick together because we don't know what to look for. Because we're looking for someone who would do it with hands, and you don't have hands.
That is amazing.
So we don't know how you did it. There was a wrestler I read about, like a high school wrestler a couple of years ago, that got to, like, a national championship, but he didn't have legs.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I heard about this guy.
And, like, he was this great wrestler, and there was actually some consideration of, like, kind of, like, is it fair to let this guy wrestle? Because, like, wrestling generally is predicated on the fact that your opponent has all four limbs, and so, like, you've learned to do whatever, and he didn't have legs, so people were like, I don't know what to do. Like, I go to grab his leg, and it's just not there. And so
I can imagine
was super, super good.
Tricky. I mean, obviously, he is also dealing with some real struggles.
Well, yeah, obviously. But, like, he has
been accustomed to.
Exactly. He's had a lot more time to get used to not having legs than you had to get used to wrestling a dude that has no legs. But anyways, his name was Marty Gilbert. It was an amazing performance, and you should go look it up. So that was it. That's our 4th star of the week, man. What's our 5th star of the week?
Okay, Dave, our 5th star of the week is that we might have to institute a new segment, like, after the break. Going forward, because remember how last week we said that there's a lot of stuff about Japan that we don't know, but we asked
an enormous amount of things.
That, like, if you happen to know this stuff, like, please tell us. Dude,
turns out they knew.
Okay, first of all, you
guys are great.
The
Thanks.
listeners, you're great. Also, you love Kakuranger, and you know a lot of stuff about it. There is stuff that they were telling me that, like, I did not even realize was a question, and they were giving me an answer to it.
I'm not gonna lie, that makes me a little bit intimidated to know that people are, like, so into Kakuranger.
Listen, you're not wrong. I feel kind of the same way, but I feel like if we just do our best, then everything will be cool. So, here are some of the...
That's how pretty much the rest of my life is worked out.
So here's... Yeah, really. So here's what's going to happen. I am going to tell you the things that I have learned in this past week. If this continues to be, like, as active as it was this first week, I might just have to institute a segment like, what did Matt learn about Japan this week?
All right. Well, Matt, what did you learn about Japan this week?
Okay, so... I got doubles on some of these, so I'm going to try to give credit where I can, but if I forgot to write down your name, I'm very sorry. Thank you very much for helping me out with this stuff. So we got from 2 followers. One is Ian Jefferson, and the other is Weed Lord Vegeta. Some information about the narrator.
Right on.
So the narrator not only is he a like sort of famous performer, but the performance that he is doing is
You mean like the actual actor
that
is?
dude, yeah.
Okay,
but the
right on.
thing that he is doing is a traditional Japanese art form called rakugo, and I might be pronouncing that wrong.
Okay.
So here's the deal with rakugo. It is, and I have the Wikipedia page open right now, it is a form of Japanese verbal entertainment. The lone storyteller sits on a stage using only a paper fan and a small cloth as props, and without standing up from the seated position, the rakugo artist depicts a long and complicated comical story. The story always involves the dialogue of two or more characters, the difference between the characters depicted through only a change in pitch and a slight turn of the head of the performer. So, like, that dude, and Weed Lord Vegeta described it as, see, I got it pulled up here.
So it's like you're like just a professional funny guy.
Yeah, it's
professional like funny storyteller.
He said, imagine that if those weird kind of funny stories your uncle told were regarded as national or as traditional theater, that's rakugo. So like that's what that guy is. So I'm
Matt, I'm moving to Japan. I'm quitting my job. I'm moving to Japan.
It's basically all I've ever wanted is to do that.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I found my calling.
I feel like we have been practicing that for 100 weeks.
You're not 100% wrong.
If I could just pretend to be two people instead of you and I going back and forth, I feel like if we could both do that, then we could both have very successful careers in this.
Okay, so that dude is famous, and he is doing like a highly respected ancient traditional art form.
Yeah.
So what else, Matt?
And so I'm a lot more inclined to regard that dude favorably. I remember last week I was saying that he creeped me out, and it was sort of weird, and I didn't get it. And I still don't get it, but I feel as though the knowledge that he is doing like a very specific thing sort of changes my view
like it sort
on
of changes the tenor of it.
Okay, so here is another thing. Remember how I could not figure out whether or not Tsuruhime, like the woman that she was descended from, was a real person?
Yeah.
So Tsuruhime was a real person.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, she was like the daughter of the head priest of this shrine, and like the priest died, and so she became the head priest at like age 16. And then later on, when she was like 18, she ended up like leading... I'm looking at this now. Either she led an armed rebellion, or she led an armed defense of the shrine. I think that's actually it. Yeah.
Either way, pretty rad.
Yeah. So apparently, Tsuruhime is not only a real person, but like completely radical.
That's awesome.
It says here she had trained since childhood in the martial arts, and when Aochi made further moves against Omishima, she took charge of the military residence. Along with her brothers and husband, she led an army into battle and drove samurai back into the open sea. So yeah, Tsuruhime is the best, apparently. Let's see, some other stuff. Oh, the Doron changers?
Okay.
First of all, they are designed to look like these like traditional Japanese little carrying cases called inro.
Oh, right on.
I think I'm remembering that name correctly. And also, Doron is a Japanese onomatopoeia for the sound of like a puff of smoke, like disappearing in a puff of smoke.
Oh, like it's like their BAMF?
Yeah, it's basically like, yeah, it is. Dave, I was going to try to find a different way of saying it. It is 100% that. You got it in one.
Okay. Nailed it.
So that is why they are called the Doron changers. That is why so much of this stuff in this show like disappears in a puff of smoke. That is why the little like the.
I figured that was just because they're ninjas,
yeah,
right?
Well,
like,
okay, yeah, that's probably it. But also like the putties are called Dorons.
Oh,
and
right
like
on.
They appear and disappear in a puff of smoke as well. So like there's a lot of stuff like that. So thank you to, let's see, the people previously thanked, and then I had written this all down, and my computer is very far away from my face, and I need new glasses apparently. At Pandua Pan, at Livebird, a couple of fives in there. I think that's 3 5s. Livebird 555. Alan Sells. So all of you who I forgot to mention, thank you so much for all the information. Please keep it coming. That
defo.
is super awesome. And this has gone longer than I thought it would. So now, Dave, let us stop with our segment now and go watch the show. Episode 2, A Dangerous Lady. And we'll be right back. Ninja! Okay, welcome back. So we have just finished watching Episode 2, A Dangerous Lady. Dave, I feel like I'm kind of starting to get the rhythm of the show a little bit more. Is it working for you yet?
Okay, to a degree, yeah. Like, it's not a complicated premise. Like, there are monsters and they're ninja, and the ninja are killing the monsters.
Sure.
I've seen... This is an oeuvre with which I am familiar, let us say.
Sure.
And so my biggest problem, honestly, is like it's just trying to keep track of everything that's happening because everything happens so friggin' fast.
It really, really does. This show, and listen, I have gained a new level of appreciation for what you have been doing the last 2 seasons because I am not used to watching this show for the first time and then immediately doing the podcast because I always watched ahead and then would sort of like, follow up with a second watch through to sort of be the guide. And since dude. Since I have jettisoned that this season, like, boy, you have been going through some stuff these last 2 years.
Yeah, bud. Welcome to my universe. This is just you're getting it raw. This is 100% pure, uncut. I was gonna make anyways. So it's like there was gonna be a cocaine joke, is where I was going with that, and then it kind of fell apart on me.
But you know what won't fall apart on you, Dave? Is this episode of this show? So let's talk about it.
Okay, so when we left our sort of heroes last time, they're not sort of heroes, they're heroes. When we left our heroes last time, the Red Ranger is called Sasuke.
Yes. And
the Blue Ranger is Saizo.
Correct.
And the White Ranger is Tsuruhime.
Correct.
Just to remember. So the last thing we saw was that they were fighting the Kappa and his tentacle-headed wife. We don't know what's up with her yet. She
shows up, and when you say tentacle-headed, when she arrives, there is not a body. It is a head. It's just a giant floating octopus with like a lady's face on it.
Yep, and she's wearing like some cool shades. So we get the narrator, and what did you say his name was again, Matt?
I didn't actually get the name of the narrator.
Oh, okay. So the narrator, he poofs in, he Dorons in, and he says, "Back to the Warring States!" And so we get a further flashback to the sort of Warring States period with the original thing. And he just sort of gives us an overview of everything that happened. Like, there were the ninjas, and they sealed the yokai power away, and now it's out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's just trying to get, basically, that is just a recap of the first episode.
Right. So Tentacle Head, wife, and the Kappa are there, and they're like, well, we're not fighting you guys anymore, we're out. So they leave. We go from there to Sasuke and Saizo, and Tsuruhime is on the back of the bike with Sasuke, I think.
Yeah.
And they're driving along, and she's like, take a left up here. And they're like, why are we taking you home? You're not the boss of us. And she says, yes, I am, actually.
Yeah. But,
you guys open the yokai gates. You got to protect me. That's the way. That's the rule.
Yeah, the rule is, like, if you guys open the gate, you have to protect, like, my family or something.
Which I really like. It makes a lot more sense now that the Tsuruhime family is like real dedicated to remembering this, and the other family's like, nah, we're not as invested.
Like, they are the only ones who remember stuff and they watch out for it, but if the other 4 cause problems, then they are responsible to clean it up.
Right. So they get to her house, or like wherever it is that she lives.
Which is a warehouse. An address.
Right, yeah, it's a warehouse. Which, let's be honest, we all saw that coming.
I mean, there were only so many options, and I don't think she's going to live in a quarry.
Or at the docks, so ultimately. So she gives him an address, and she says, listen, you need to go get this other guy. He's one of the other ninjas. Like, he's one of the other Kakurangers. And they're like, isn't this an arcade? That seems a little bit weird.
And, okay, here's what is weird. It's not weird that he's hanging out in an arcade. It is weird that Tsuruhime knows exactly where he is. Like, she does not give them his home address. So either that dude basically lives at this arcade, or she has, like,
is not impossible.
Like, well, okay, I think it is impossible for reasons we'll get to in a minute.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
this
very
particular
good point,
this particular arcade, Dave.
Yeah, no, not this one.
Or it's just that Tsuruhime has like this weird knowledge of where all of these other Kakurangers are at all times, which isn't also not impossible.
I was going to say, not impossible. So we go from there to the arcade, and we get the narrator. He hops in, and he says, "This is Seikai, and he is the descendant of the yellow ninja." I can't remember his name.
Well, his name was also Seikai. Seikai is
that's
the
right.
surname.
His name is also Seikai.
Or the family
Yeah, so
name.
he's... Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm a jerk. So he says, "This is Seikai, and he might seem like a slacker, but he's not. He is, in fact, the slackerest slacker to ever slack. He is like the king of slackers." And so then we jump in, and it's Seikai and just some dude, I guess,
appears to be
playing
a friend
video
of
games.
his. They are playing a Gundam fighting game, and Seikai is losing badly, which is another reason why I think that he does not live at the arcade, because he would have gotten good at this stuff at some point.
Nah, dude, he's the slackerest slacker to ever slack. You can't... To really be in it, you can't. You have to slack. It's 100% commitment, Matt. The only thing you can't slack about is slacking.
Oh, see, now that's the strange balance. Once you also learn how to slack at slacking, then you have achieved enlightenment.
I think what you've achieved then is a job.
Okay, so they're sitting there, and this woman walks over to them, and she appears to be the proprietor of the arcade, and she leans down to Seikai's friend and says, "Hey,
Yeah.
I have a much more interesting game for you in the back. It's virtual reality."
And he's like, "What? No way." And so he follows her back.
Now, I will remind you, this is 1994, so like the concept of virtual reality in 1994,
it's a virtual boy is what it
was
is.
very tenuous.
It's not a virtual boy. It's like one of those sit-in arcade machines. But so he goes back, and Seikai kind of like not like sneakily, but just sort of like follows them back there.
Yeah, because
and
he also wants to play the cool games.
Right. And so he looks in through this thing, and there's like a whole back area in this arcade. There's like hallways and like individual rooms and all this stuff. And he looks in and he sees the woman sort of like leaning over the friend's shoulder, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this game is amazing." And then he looks away, and when he does that, she teleports away, and she teleports behind him. So she clearly is a monster. And she's like, "Hey, if you want to come with me, I've got an even better game, like even further in the back." And he's like, "What? Oh, amazing. I love games."
That's
so she follows
great.
him.
I love games, and this isn't suspicious at all.
Just at all that you have like a whole back weird room here that makes 100% sense. So we go to the warehouse where Tsuruhime apparently lives, and it looks at first as though Sandayu is the dude that we mentioned last time. He is the younger dude in like the pink kimono who flies around in a cloud and has a hat and a cape
Now, Dave,
and a pipe.
you say that he is a younger dude. He is 100% older than all of the other characters.
Sorry, younger than the other dude in a pink kimono, the narrator. Like they're both in pink kimonos, is what I'm saying. He's not younger than the Rangers. He's younger than the other pink kimono guy.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that.
Yeah, no, that I can see where that would have been confusing, but he's older. And at first it seems like he is their Zordon Doshikaku chief. And I think he is.
I think that he is, yes.
But he is also like the longtime servant of the Tsuruhime family.
Yeah, because at some point in this conversation, he says, like, "I have served the Tsuruhime family for generations."
Yeah, so I think he's like an immortal Alfred, kind of.
An immortal ninja Alfred.
An immortal ninja Alfred,
which is
precisely.
one of the best kinds of Alfred.
I submit that it might be the best.
Oh, dude.
Aside from actual Alfred.
I was going to say, actual Alfred is pretty great.
Yeah. So he... Oh, and also, in all of the translation that I'm seeing, he's saying, like, ye. And I clearly don't know enough Japanese to know the answer to this question, but it leads me to believe that maybe Sandayu is like maybe he's speaking like an antiquated version of Japanese.
I have no idea. The DVDs do not give us that.
Okay, hey, if anybody knows that, tweet at Matt. Just a deluge of information about outdated Japanese linguistics.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good. So he says, hey, listen, I've got this thing for you. It's Neko Bus. And it's not a bus, but it's like a big van. And it drives in and it's painted to look like a cat.
It's, okay, Dave, its name is Nekumaru.
Oh, sorry. My notes say Neko Bus. And then Nekomaru underneath that. Tsuruhime is super into it.
And he says, now take care of Nekumaru.
It is a can't believe
creature. Because
it's alive.
This bus, Neko, is Japanese, or Neko, or however you pronounce it, is Japanese for cat. This is like a cat bus that is alive and meows at Tsuruhime.
And purrs. Yeah, I think I don't know what the deal is, but if I find out later that Sandayu just turned a cat into a bus, I will completely believe it. I have no problem. So far, like the narrative of this show is telling me that's 100% fine.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And also, I don't know if that's awesome or a tiny bit terrible. Like, I could kind of go... I mean, like, actually, you know what? It's probably rad because Nekomaru seems pretty into it.
Yeah, Nekomaru is totally cool. Nekomaru can, like, teleport and fly and stuff.
Oh, he can fly? No way. That's amazing.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. It can definitely teleport.
It could definitely teleport. We will find that out. So we go back from there to the arcade, and the secret game that the lady told Seikai she had is just like a hostess cafe.
Yeah, it's literally just... There is not a game. Seikai is sitting at a table, and like cute waitresses are like roller skating around him and bringing him food and sitting in his lap and giggling.
Do you know about hostess cafes, Matt? Do you know that this is a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. We don't need to talk about it, but it is wild to me. But yeah, so the secret game is just a hostess cafe, and we go from there back, and he's like having a great time. Seikai loves this.
Oh, dude.
He's like, this is the best game ever. Which, if you're Seikai, makes sense.
Sure. I mean, listen, if you were comparing that to like a bad Gundam fighting game, then sure.
Yeah,
listen,
that's 100%
that dude's
better.
Afternoon definitely improved. So we cut back to Tsuruhime and Sandayu, and they are sitting on the docks that are right outside of the warehouse. And they're looking out over
It's still
the
a
city.
Sentai show, Matt. We were never going to go that far. And they're looking over the city.
And over the city is like this big cloud of evil energy.
Which like everyone seems super chill about. Like the city apparently is not stopped at all. Like everything's fine.
Dave, yesterday
as far as they're concerned,
in the sky above the city, there was a giant like floating castle.
Yeah, okay, good point.
Actually, I'm trying to sort of parse the timeline of episode 1 and episode 2. It might be the same day.
I think it is, actually, because they teleport, like, there's no time break. All of this is just happening kind of immediately. So what we find out this thing is it's a giant whirlwind of yokai energy.
Yeah, and yokai energy is like, not only is it a larger collection of it than Sandayu has ever seen, but also, like, I think it might be growing because it feeds on, like, human negative emotion.
Right, and it's above a city, which is, like, the ideal place for that.
And it might also, like, listen, I don't know if it's directly causing negative human emotion, but, like, it is summoning monsters, and so that can't be helping.
So that's uncool. And he says, he's like, listen, you guys got to deal with this, because if you don't, that Kappa's going to be back, and then it's going to absorb a bunch of that yokai energy, and then it's going to get giant, and that's when your real problems are going to start. So that is fun that, like, this is how they get giant. They just absorb a bunch of energy and they get giant for our monsters. So we flash from there to the city. The Kappa is walking up the street. He looks up and sees the yokai whirlwind as though he had not seen it before.
As though he was not at the seal door when all of that yokai energy came swirling out.
But he's just like, yeah, this is awesome. And he does this little, like, jazz hands dance.
It's pretty fun.
And it is pretty cool. So he goes over.
Who plays the Kappa does a really great job of, like, when he is in his human form, still having, like, the physical mannerisms. Like, he moves around like a monster that looks like a human, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. He kind of looks as though he's wearing a monster suit all the time, even when he's not wearing a monster suit.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
He does, yeah, it's a really cool job. So it turns out, so he shows up at the arcade also, and it turns out that he is married to the proprietress of the arcade.
Yeah.
Who, like, herself obviously is a monster, and she is some sort of, like, crazy ghost that has, like, a giant long neck.
Okay, what she is she is a Rokurokubi.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I only said that. They do tell us what it was before. I was just really psyched that I was like, oh, I know that. I remember that. I didn't remember what it was called, but I was like, I recognized it, and I felt real good about myself.
That is cool. Well, because that is the thing about this show, is that, like, okay, in other shows that I have seen, like, there are monsters every week, and some of those monsters might be, like, inspired by X, right?
Yeah.
But in Kakuranger, they're not, like, a monster that has been inspired by something. It's just literally that thing. Like, it's a Sentai version of it, but, like, the Kappa is just a Kappa. The Rokurokubi is just a Rokurokubi. Like, those are yokai that, like, there are Wikipedia entries on them, and you can read, like, the history, like, of those mythological, like, things.
Oh, okay. So, like, I knew the Kappa was a real thing, but I did not realize that all of these monsters were just, like, straight up, like, yep, that's just a monster, and that's a monster. I wasn't sure where they were going with, like, eye flaps and, like, the garbage can monster, but clearly there's a...
Hey, listen, I don't know what those things actually are, but as I understand it, I was looking up the names of a few of them on this Wikipedia list that someone tweeted at me, and, like, they're all just there, so I assume that's what it is. And
sick.
That is the weird thing that I am realizing about this show, is that it seems to me that it is more, like, indecipherable than the previous shows that we've been watching. But I feel like it actually is a lot more understandable. It just requires, like, a completely different cultural, like, knowledge set than I have.
Okay, Matt, here's what we need to do. We need to find some Japanese brothers who want to do a podcast, and they need to watch King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. And we'll trade. It'll be amazing.
I feel like that is a very good equivalence.
Okay, so I was looking some stuff up about, like, I'm trying not to read ahead, such as the case may be, but, like, I was just looking at the ninja names. I was like, I know that name, like, from Naruto. And so I looked it up, and it's like, oh, like, this dude, like, this Kakuranger is drawing a bunch of stuff, and Naruto is also drawing a bunch of stuff, like, from the same stories.
Right.
And it was just like, oh, this is just King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, but in Japan.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about it is, like, you know, it is using, like, a tokusatsu show, which is, like, a very Japanese sort of TV show to tell a very Japanese sort of story with very Japanese, like, everything, basically. Like, it also...
The more I find out about this, the more I'm, like, super into it.
Yeah, like, it's so, like... It includes other forms of Japanese. Like, it's got the, what did I call it? Sorry. Rakugo. Like, the narrator's doing, like, a full other thing. You know what it's like, Dave? It is like King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, but I also feel like there is another thing that uses a couple of, like, very specific national art forms to tell a story of the history of that place. And that is Hamilton.
I was just going to say, you're about to say Hamilton, aren't you?
Yeah, Kakuranger is basically Tokusatsu Hamilton.
You're not wrong.
Because listen, Hamilton uses, like, the American musical and hip hop to tell a story about, like, you know, like, American revolutionary history. Like, this is...
no, that's not I was going to say, you're not wrong, dude.
Okay.
So there's a quick shot of Tsuruhime driving Nekomaru, like, just around. We're not totally sure where, probably over to the arcade. And then we're back to the arcade. So the Kappa is in, like, what seems to be a walk-in refrigerator, but there's a refrigerator in it, which is full of cucumbers. But then there's a bunch of other vegetables that are just hanging from strings from the ceiling.
Yeah, it's just a room. It is just a room full of produce on strings. It's very strange looking.
I'm not sure what's going on. And so,
by the way, did we mention, I know we talked about the Rokurokubi and then we got on a whole other tear. Did we mention that they've been doing this weird cut, this weird camera cut, where it will show her head right next to, like, the dude who's playing the video game, like, looking over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And then the camera pans back and sees, like, this huge, long, like, windy neck leading back to a body on, like, the far end of the room. And, like,
they do a super cool job of it.
It's a super cool job. And, like, listen, you can tell, obviously, that it's kind of like a cheap effect. But, like, in the context of this show, it really works. And it looks very creepy.
Yeah. They do. They really nail it, like, insofar as they can. So she runs in to this refrigerator and she's like, oh, darling, our son is back. And he's like, sweetie, no, we've talked about this. Our son is dead. He was killed by human poisons.
Food poisoning.
That's just another that's just another human child. But she is insisting that it's her kid. It's a real uncomfortable moment. I'm wondering if this has something to do with, like, the traditional ghost. I'm not really sure.
It might do.
But anyways,
honestly, like, I skimmed the Wikipedia article. I did not give it a full read, but I would totally believe that is a story that had happened with this thing, or one of these things. But then Kappa says, okay, but here's the good news. The sealed door is now open. We have our yokai power again. We have been, like, humiliated and living among humans for so long. But now we don't have to work at this stupid arcade anymore. We can go do monster stuff.
Yeah, this is good. And she's psyched about it. There's, like, a prep table. And then they're super excited about this yokai power. And it's very clear that this table is about to become a sex table.
Yeah, that is apparently stage 1 of monster stuff. Like, get your yokai power back and then
get it on
in the walk-in freezer.
So then the kid walks in. He's like, ran out of quarters. I don't know. But he freaks out. And the Kappa looks up and he's like, you saw, didn't you? And he's just like, guys, so far you just look human and you're not actually naked. So,
like, I can just leave.
All he saw
is too late.
He's like, right. All I saw is a dude kissing his wife. That's fine with, I've got parents. It's fine. It's cool. But the Kappa's like, nope, time to die. So the kid freaks out. He runs. He runs, like, through the walk-in fridge into the next room, which is where Seikai is. Seikai also, and then, like, Rokurokubi head, like, flies in on the long neck, and Seikai freaks out. And then it turns out the hostess girls are also just Dorons. Dorons, what are they called?
I think they're called Dorons, yeah.
Okay, Doran. And then there's a little fight, but both guys escape. Cool. Neck lady chases them. And then, they get out, and then as the Rokurokubi is chasing them, the Kappa and the Doran sort of come from around the other corner, and so now Seikai and the kid are cornered at a warehouse that is, like, clearly a million miles away from the arcade.
So because
we saw just to be clear, we saw an exterior shot of the arcade, and it's, like, in the middle of the city.
Yes, and now we are in a place where it is very easy to film Sasuke and Saizo driving in on their motorcycles, because that is what is about to happen.
Right.
As the monsters have cornered Seikai and his buddy, like, it seems as though they have not quite gotten on the same page yet, because Rokurokubi is insisting that they come and live with them, and Kappa is saying that they were going to be their dinner. So, like,
it's right.
They are both on the same page insofar as we need to catch these teens, but they have not yet, like, really had a good sit down talk about what to do with them.
Yeah. So Sasuke and Saizo arrive. They henge, which is the change, like, that's their morph, and the dudes are just into it. They, like, pull out the swords and they're just fighting now. So I guess they're cool.
Yeah, it did not take them long to learn how to be ninja.
Yeah, like, literally hours, maybe.
Hey, listen, they got magic ninja transformation, like, things.
Right, it's in their blood. So, So Tsuruhime arrives in Nekomaru. She's like, guys, like, just get Seikai onto the bus. We've got to get him back to the swords, because this dude doesn't have his Doron changer yet. Like, everybody else is cool, but, like, we got to get him his powers so that he can, like, be part of this.
So Sasuke stays behind to continue to fight to, like, hold them off. Saizo gets Seikai and the buddy onto Nekomaru. Nekomaru starts to drive away.
Yeah. Rokurokubi is, like, chasing them down on foot and is catching up to them and is like, oh, my sweet boy, come back. You have to give him back to me. And they're obviously freaking out because she's a terrifying ghost lady with an octopus head stretchy neck.
Inside the bus, Seikai is like, okay, so what's happening now?
So what now?
And Saizo, who has gotten his Doron changer, 2 hours ago?
Yeah, maybe.
Saizo is just like, oh man, hey, it's great to meet you. I'm Saizo. We just gotta go get you a sword. It'll all make sense. As though
like, you're gonna get your sword, you're gonna pull it out, you'll get your Doron charger, everything's cool.
And he's being kind of evasive, and Seikai is just trying to get a straight answer out of him. And Tsuruhime is like, Saizo, just stop messing with him.
Right. I really do love that Saizo is already so comfortable with this that he's willing to haze the new guy. He's like 2 hours deep and he's already telling jokes. So
yeah, listen, I've only seen this much of the show. I might love Saizo.
Yeah. So Rokubi has caught up with the bus and Tsuruhime is like, Nekomaru, you have to gun it. So and then now we find out that Nekomaru can teleport. So he just teleports away. Cool.
Rokurokubi is running too fast and cannot stop herself from just running into a guardrail and falling over.
Yeah. And then we go back from there to the fight, and we get a really cool thing because the Kappa manages to claw or sword or something Sasuke, and as he claws him, it's like a ninja substitution, and it was just the costume.
Yeah, and then
so you see there's an empty Sasuke costume, and then Sasuke attacks him from behind.
It's so good, dude.
So he, that happens, and he gets in a hit on the Kappa. The Kappa's like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm going to go deal with this other thing. So he teleports.
Sandai at this point appears and says, listen, he just disappeared, but he is going to be back. You've not seen the last of him. He's going to absorb all this yokai energy, and then he's going to get giant.
And it's going to be a problem. You've got to get back to the castle. You have a new ninpo to learn.
Yeah.
Remember, ninpo is like ninja magic.
So go along to the Wind Illusion Castle.
Yeah. Hold up, though, because Sasuke is like, oh, Sandai, thanks so much for that advice. They've never met. They met that one time where Sandai pointed a rose at them and they teleported away. That's it.
Well, he also met him at the seal door. Listen, they're not like best friends or anything, but
I'm just saying he's never been introduced. This dude is this is the third time he's ever seen this guy, and he's like, oh, thanks, Sandai.
Dude, it's the third time you've seen him, but we have established that all of this has happened in the course of 2 hours. And if you saw like a magical flying ninja dude 3 times in the course of 2 hours, and one time
I would figure out that dude's name.
Pull a magical sword out of the ground and get a transformation tool to turn you into a ninja superhero, you would remember that, bro.
Matt, you make a very good point.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
we go, and Sasuke is now inside the castle, which is itself Mighty Shogun. There is some sick-looking red samurai armor and a scroll in front of it. It's a ninja scroll. It's like a literal ninja scroll.
It's so good.
I love it. So we're back to Nekomaru. Nekomaru takes them to the swords. Seikai, it turns out, is the Yellow Ranger.
You might have thought he was the Black Ranger based on the fact that he's wearing a black vest and black hat.
Yeah, these jerks are not color-coded at all.
I am beginning to wonder when the, really reliable color coding started. Because we got it mostly in Dai Ranger. But,
we got
Kazu
it in Dai
was
Ranger.
not always the right color. And neither was Shoji all the time.
True, but the Jetmen were all... Well, no, they weren't really.
Guy wasn't.
Guy wasn't. And neither was... Akka was.
Raita was. They were sort of loosely done. But I feel like I want to go back and sort of figure out exactly when this started. This is a conversation for another time, but...
yeah, it definitely is. But anyways, dude is not dressed in black. No, he's dressed in black, but he's not the black ninja. He's the yellow ninja. So they show up, And it turns out that Seikai's ancestor is quite the ladies' ninja. And he's just like, looks like me. Probably gets a lot of girls.
Oh, yeah.
And then right at the end, his closing advice is two things. He's like, eat a decent meal once in a while.
Don't always
not all that
just eat
instant stuff.
ramen. Like, also have some
Right.
rice.
And then he says, and watch out for kunoichi, which is like lady ninjas.
And as he disappears, he yells at Seikai, like, do something about your breath.
I did not catch. I was probably typing something. I did not catch up. That's pretty great.
It was awesome.
So right after they leave, Kappa and Roku Rokubi attack.
Yeah, they fly in,
Neko,
and Kappa starts throwing cucumber bombs at them.
Yep, I think somebody told us Kappas really dig cucumbers, right?
Yes.
So he's got cucumber bombs. Neko does manage to get the bystander kid away.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's fine.
So what's funny is that when the kid was trying to get out of the bus earlier, when everyone else was getting out of the bus, Tsuruhime was like, no. You stay on the bus. Like, you do not have ninja heritage. Like, she doesn't say that, but she's like, listen, like, we're doing our cool thing. You stay inside the cat bus.
So there's a fight. And Seikai is not changing yet. He's not doing the henge yet. And I did notice, I thought that Spanish trumpet music was like a one-time thing. Turns out it is not. That is just the fight music.
It's very jazzy. It's like a much jazzier version of the main theme.
Yeah, but dude, I just can't. It's the trumpet, and it's very weird to me. I keep waiting to see like mariachis like riding over the horizon,
which sadly would be perfect in the Lucha Libre Sentai, which they still have not made, and I'm still furious about it.
It's a dream too beautiful to live, Matt. You just you need to make your peace with that.
So as Tsuruhime and Saizo are fighting Kappa, Roku Rokubi goes over and starts to attack Seikai. And she's up on him and has tentacles wrapped around him. And it's at this point that I notice that the face that is on Roku Rokubi's head is, I think, just painted on. Because there is another monster face that is the shape of the head
directly
is in a giant monster face, but there's a white patch sort of in the front of the head that it looks like a human face has just been painted on. It's very unsettling.
Dude, yeah, that monster design is actually way cooler than I initially gave it credit for.
I know,
it's
man.
super bad. So when this happens, he finally does the henge, and he's the ninja yellow. And I don't know if he's supposed to have super strength or if he just throws her off.
But he does.
I know, Yellow Rangers
throw her off in a very forceful way. And yeah,
in a very righteous type way.
Yeah, listen, dude.
And I know that
sometimes Yellow Rangers are just the strong ones, which is awesome.
Right. I mean, that's kind of a thing. And I dig that there is that at least small degree of continuity between the shows. So Kappa absorbs a whole bunch of energy while he is holding the head of Roku Rokubi. So they're giant, but her body was not there. Yeah. So it's not a giant body. It's like a person-sized body with the giant octopus head.
It's great.
But they're separate. Oh, sorry. The body and head are operating separately at this point.
So the thing about Roku Rokubi
they can act independently.
Is that they were... I was looking at the Wikipedia article, and apparently there are two forms of Roku Rokubi. Some of them have super long necks, and some of them have heads that come off of their bodies. And so this is a blended version of those two things.
Right on. Good to know. Yeah, that's actually a pretty rad idea.
So as they grow, Saizo and Seikai and Tsuruhime look up and oh, well, this is rotten.
Yeah, it's this isn't cool at all. We should not. Oh, we're not into this.
But from nowhere, flying in on a cloud, is Sasuke.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
And he swoops by on the cloud and attacks him on just at normal size with his sword, and it's great. And then he lands down by the other Kakurangers. He's like, dudes, my dudes, check this out. I just got this great scroll.
Right, you were never going to believe what I just found. This is so rad.
Stand back, I'm going to do a thing.
And he's right. it is amazing and rad, because what he does is it's Kakuranger style Simiadar. So what I at first thought was just like a person robot, it turns out, I'm assuming, because all the rest of them are animals, I think his is like a monkey.
Yeah, and he moves sort of like a monkey in this fight.
Yeah. So their giant robots are called Jusho, I think is what it said. Is that right?
They are like... I didn't write it down. We will figure this out at some point between episodes.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later. But he's got
this is not
a
one
giant
of the things
monkey
that
robot.
you need to tell
That's
us
right.
about. It's on the Wikipedia.
Yeah, we'll get it there. So they're doing he starts fighting Kappa and the giant
I'm
head.
sorry, can I interject something real quick?
Yeah, please
Because
do.
when he gets into this thing, the other Kakurangers do not say, "Oh wow, he summoned a giant monkey robot." They say, "Oh my gosh, Sasuke got huge." Did Sasuke turn into a giant monkey robot, Dave? Because I think that maybe Sasuke just turned into a giant monkey robot, Dave.
I don't think so. I think that maybe is like a weird thing because you see him like magic fade into the chest of the giant robot.
Yes, you do, but listen, they said
dude, maybe
he
it's
got
like an
big, and I want to believe, Dave. I want to believe that they get huge. Guys, listen.
Okay, listen.
Listeners,
if we're wrong, let us persist in this as long as possible.
yeah, seriously.
Don't
Here's
correct us on this one.
Here's our general rule of thumb on this. If there is something that we are wrong about or that we have like missed a key piece of cultural information, please tell us. If it is something about like that we will learn as the show progresses, we will figure that out as we're watching it. You do not need to tell us. And also,
yeah, that's
like,
a good.
we want to see it when the show happens. So, you know, let us do all of that together. Because otherwise, I'm going to check my tweets and I'm going to read it and I'm going to be sad.
Okay, so then Kappa and Rokurokubi, they do like a giant portal that they jump through, but then Simiadar follows them through, and they're like flying through the world, I guess.
They fly up
it's
into
very
space
weird.
for a second. See, here's a weird thing, is they're flying all over the world and like into space and through subway tunnels and stuff, but they're also changing size as they're doing it. Like sometimes they're regular person size, sometimes they're like the size of a, I don't know,
not a regular
the
person
size of a person. Like when they're flying through the subway cars, and then when they land again, it is nighttime and they are giants again.
Yup, that sure. Yeah,
I don't
sure
know
is.
if they have like teleported through time or if they've just been flying around so long that the sun has set.
It's very unclear. So, they do finally land, though. And we get a quick flash to Tsuruhime fighting Rokurokubi's body. And she does like a power slash. The body dies. And then when the body dies, the head also dies.
See, this is very convenient because at that exact moment, Rokurokubi had like put her like flying octopus head on top of the giant Sasuke robot's head.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he looked like he was
of
sort of fading fast. So as the body died, the Rokurokubi head like flies off and Sasuke is saved.
Yes. So Kappa picks up Rokurokubi's head, and then Simiadar unleashes its special move, which is the Simiadar Slicer, and it's a giant ninja star that he bowls at them, and it just like slices them in half.
I have in my notes,
Like, just-
he bowls a shuriken? Also,
straight up.
in my notes, he is not called Simiadar. I do not know what sort of translation differences we have between what you are watching and what I am watching. But in my notes, that is the Saruta Slicer.
Oh, that also works. I am enjoying the show quite a bit in a way that is different from the way that Matt is enjoying it. Let's leave it at that. So it slices the Kappa in half, and that's how you know a ninja, because he cuts them in half and then they die.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, at least we died together. And then they're dead. And then that's pretty much the end. We go back and we see the friend getting dropped off And he's like, Seikai, that was the coolest VR experience ever.
Because, again, I will remind you, it is 1994, and thoughts on VR were very fuzzy.
Yeah, so this kid is an idiot.
This show was coming out around the same time as VR Troopers, so that's what we thought virtual reality was back then.
And so then the Rangers get on the Nekomaru, and they're just driving around, I think, like looking for monsters to fight or whatever. And they drive by a guy who is like very obviously the 5th Ranger, but he's dressed like a camper.
Oh, he's dressed like a camper now, dude. But I have seen pictures of him next episode, and it's going to be good.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to it. And then he sort of like walks purposefully into a field.
And that's the episode.
And then that's it.
So
that's it, man.
Dave, what do you think about this episode?
Dude, I'm into it. Like, I'm already super on board for Kakuranger.
Me too. Honestly, in a way that I did not think I was going to be.
Well, okay. Like, at the end of Jetman, they were like, oh, it's ninjas. And I was like, is it actually going to be ninjas? Like, I don't know. But they're straight up ninjas.
Yeah, dude. Like, for real.
With an S. Yeah, with an S, not a Z, to be clear.
Hey, Heather would be cool.
I would be much less into it if they were ninjas with a Z.
I would be actually as into it, but in a different way. Now, here is a weird thing that I noticed about the show
Matt.
so far.
I was making an insane clown posse joke.
Oh, no. Sorry, I was just thinking about things that were radical. And of course, all things that are radical contain either the letter X or the letter Z.
Yeah, ideally both,
sure,
if at all possible.
So here's a thing that I noticed at the end of the 2nd episode of Kakuranger is that, like, Kappa is dead, right? Which means that Kappa is not the villain of the season.
Sure isn't.
Isn't it weird that we finished 2 episodes and we still have not encountered the Vyram?
Who the bad guys are. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought.
I mean,
about that.
Vyram equivalent, but
Yeah, right. I wasn't assuming that like
dude,
Radigan was going to show up.
We saw the dude in like the flashback getting put away in the seal door. Yeah, but I don't know if Serpentor is actually the villain of this show.
I don't know, dog. That's weird.
So yeah,
I have no idea.
That's a weird thing.
Guess we'll find out, right?
Yeah. But now, Dave, it is time for our new segment. Those dudes got cut in half and they're dead, so they go on the list. It's time for the Creature Royale.
That's right. Okay, so Creature Royale. I liked these dudes. I liked that they were married.
Do you want to put them on the list together?
I feel like we ought to. They lived together. They died together. The least we can do to honor that is to put them on our list together.
Fair enough.
So I like that they were married, and I like that they did, as much as they were like weird monsters, did seem to have like genuine affection for each other.
Yeah, they really did.
I dug that.
They were like sort of fully fleshed out characters with like a history and stuff.
Yeah, Kappa had sort of a weird look that I wasn't super into as a monster, but I dug his human look. And Rokurokubi was a little bit strange, but I did really dig like the weird octopus head.
Once I realized like the layers to the design on Rokurokubi, I really liked her.
I got a lot more into it.
Okay, so let's start. These are the first monsters. So let's start on the list with the first monster from Dairanger. Better or worse than Baron String? Better, right?
Definitely better than Baron String.
Okay.
Yeah, if only for like character, like coolness.
So where are you looking? Because right above that, we've got Thunder, and then Tofu Hermit, and then Purse Monk, Duke Trump, Count Kaleidoscope, the Four Kings of Heaven. Stop me when you feel like we're getting in the right territory.
Okay, yeah, no. Stop. Not as cool as Four Kings of Heaven.
Okay. Honestly, I was going to put him above the Four Kings of Heaven.
Oh, yeah?
Well, because like they're...
Well, sell me, man.
Well, okay, because the Four Kings of Heaven have a really cool look, right? Like, they're 4 dudes, they become 1 dude, they're in a lot of great episodes, they, like, perform some mystic rituals to, like, help get Akamaru back out of hell, and, like, they are around for a lot of cool stuff. But as characters, they're zeros. Like, there's nothing to them.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
Whereas these guys, like, they're this wacky couple, and you really get, like, a full picture of them.
All right, I can dig it. So, better than Copy Empress?
Okay, here's what I'm going to say, is if we say better than Copy Empress, then they're right up against the 3 priestesses. And the three priestesses are another group that like we put in together. They're sisters. They have a relationship. They have like a couple of episodes together. Copy Empress, I think, had one of the like a really great episode of Die Ranger, but maybe they are more similar to the priestesses.
Yeah, I don't think they're as cool as Copy Empress though.
Yeah, Copy Empress is really great. And there was that episode where there was like Kazu's twin.
Yeah, dude. No, that's slick, man. That was a cool episode. So better than the Four Kings of Heaven, not as cool as Copy Empress.
Okay, that is where they go on the list at number, what is that, 19?
19.
Right on.
All right, cool, dude. Well, I think that's going to do it for us, yeah?
Yeah, that is going to do it, Dave, for another episode of A View to a Kakuranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out what we're talking about on Twitter, or if you know things about Japan that I don't, which, as we have established, is true. We are on Twitter at Super Sentai Bros. If you like the show, please remember, shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. That's what's going to help new people find the show. We're right at the beginning of a new season. Thank you to everyone who has been giving us
so much
and helping get new people on board. Now is the time. So thank you, and
yeah, thanks so much.
Keeping on,
doing that,
guys. Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. Once again, we're the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we will see you next week.